Good afternoon. I'm Dr. McElwain, and I'm here for our second Monday, January 11th, 2021. And I apologize for making mistakes about 2020 last week, getting so used to say 2021. So I thank you all who took time to view and to like and even share. We are continuing our Monday mental health moments. For those who may not have been with us last week, I'm Dr. Teresa McElwain. I am an associate minister. I'm going to start again. I'm assistant pastor, of my church in Charlotte. And I'm also pastor of a virtual church called Church Ecclesia Sozo, CES Telemedicine, where we work with persons who are being challenged by opiate dependency. We are 2.5 years old, and we are so excited to be able to not just only provide the medical, but the spiritual as well, and to continue to provide information for their mental health. So, if any of my members, we have about 2,200 members in about 23 states. If any of my members are watching, I want to say welcome. Glad that you can watch, and we're trusting this will be helpful for you as well. And I also want to share information about my counseling business. It's Inner Healing Pastoral Counseling Service in Charlotte, North Carolina. I had my business since August of 2004. And if you would like to contact me personally, you can at 704-379-7501. And that is my office number. I'm there by appointment. It will give you a direct number that you can reach me of my cell to contact me directly if I'm not in the office. And I encourage you to do that because I can get the messages sooner. So we want to provide mental health services to you no matter where you are, because we know we are in a challenge time with so many distressing situations that's happening on the national level and in our cities and states and even in our homes. So we want you to know that you don't have to suffer alone. You have support. Again, my number is 704-379-7501. 704-379-7501. Even if you like to email me, you can at Teresa, Teresa McElwain, McIlwain, the number 55 at gmail.com. Again, Teresa, Teresa.McElwain, the number 55 at gmail.com. So I look forward to hearing from you. And if you know someone that is struggling and not comfortable to reaching out, please submit that information and I'll be glad to reach out. And we provide services at a reasonable cost. We are on sliding scale fee that we make it reasonable for you, that anybody who's ready to get help, we want to help you. So we wanted to make sure you have that information for your reference. And I'm hoping some of my pastors or my church leaders are able to see this as well, to know that you have a referral for your church members, whether you having church virtually or Facebook Live, that you have an ordained minister, associate pastor, pastor of a virtual membership, a person's dealing with opiate dependency. We have this program for persons who can get their medicine at the pharmacy and just pay for the program fee, and they get Suboxone or buprenorphine to help them if they've done heroin, if they've had prescription drugs, problems with dependency on prescription drug as well. We are here to serve you. And we are so happy that we have made a difference in so many lives since we have been in existence these 2.5 years. And there's a change for you. It's a new day. So let's do things a new way. It's what you believe. Remember, we talked about that last week. What do you believe? Do you believe you can have help? If you can believe you have help, then the help is here. We're going to continue our mental health moment now, having complete those preliminaries. Last week, we asked the question, what do you believe? This week, we're going to ask the question, who do you believe? Last Monday, I shared how we as human beings begin our lives in this world according to what is written in the Bible. We learned that the Lord God created us from the dust of the ground and breathed into our nostrils the breath of life. And then we became a living soul. This account in Genesis 2:7 lets us know we are comprised of 3 parts: body, spirit, and soul. What does that mean? We are dust covering with the breath of God, and a mind with feelings and a will, which is ability to make choices. As we continue to reference the Bible, we see that the soul in the first 2 humans were tested when the serpent, which we know is the evil one from the beginning, whose goal is to have human beings not follow the instruction of the Creator God, how he had a conversation with that first woman. And she was right there, and he came to her, and she told him that her and her husband would die if they ate from the fruit of the tree in the midst of the garden. And this is his response when she told him what God had told her and her husband. If we look at that Genesis 3, 4, and 5, this is what the servant, the evil one, told her. And the servant said unto a woman, ye shall surely not die, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. You see, he said just the opposite of what God had told them would happen if they ate from that tree in the midst of the garden. So our question today is, who do you believe? Well, this first woman chose to believe the serpent over what God, their creator, had told them to do. So she believed it, and she ate the forbidden fruit. And not only did she eat, she gave it to her husband, who was sitting right there. And immediately their eyes were open, and they both saw they were naked. Then they hid themselves from the Creator God, who once had a relationship with them, who they once welcomed to come and his voice walk with them and talk with them in the garden. But they realized they had disobeyed the instruction of the one that created them, and now they hid because their eyes were open and showed them that they were naked. So what happened? The woman blamed the man, the serpent. The man blamed the woman, and the blame game started for what the woman had done and given the fruit to her husband. And our Creator God, he just listened, and then after he listened to all the blaming that was done, then he punished them for their disobedience. When we look at Genesis 3:22, which is the punishment that God gave them, God said what the serpent said would happen. They did know good and evil. Look at what it says in Genesis 3:22. It said, and the Lord God said, behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. So, the evil one, the serpent, now we know him as Satan, he's going to only tell us part truth. And we have to determine who are we going to believe. Are we going to believe the one that created us, formed us, and blessed us, and put us in the garden and gave us everything we need? Or then we're going to allow this one come along that hasn't given us anything and choose to believe them? And the woman, which is known as Eve, chose to believe him because it says it looked good to her eyes. What we see and what we hear, if it's pleasing to our eyes and our ears, that often draws us into making a decision that we ordinarily wouldn't have made. So we have to take all those factors into consideration and to know what we desire affects who we choose to listen to. If Eve would have desired to know, I want to continue to stay in this beautiful garden. I got everything I need. I don't want for anything to desire to retain the fullness of what God gave her. What the serpent said would not have made a difference in her life. But it says that it was desirable to her, and that affects our choices. So God said what the serpent said would happen. They did know good and evil. However, the relationship they had ended. They were sent from the Garden of Eden. Death did occur. And what is death? Death is the ending of a living relationship with someone you love and spent time with. Listen what happened to them. And the Lord God said, behold, the man is becoming as one of us, to know good and evil, and now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the garden from which he was taken. So he drove out the man. And he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree. So the physical death didn't happen, but the spiritual death, the death of that connection between God and his creation, because God is a holy God and he cannot interact with any of his creatures where disobedience and sin is now present in their life. And that covering didn't only just cover the dust of their being, but that covering create a barrier between God the Creator and his creation, the human beings. Remember last week we said what you believe determines the choices you make and how you live your life. The first woman belief caused her to choose to do what the Creator God had forbidden her to do. Voices are speaking to us all day, every day. Our soul will be tested just as the first man and the first woman were tested. After we're tested, we have to decide who we will believe. Who will you believe as you are going throughout 2021? Will you believe the words of God the Father, or would you allow these contrary words come I hope you choose your Creator.